Welcome to Cyphus, where I talk about my passions: video games, military service, my fellow veterans, Star Wars, and Mandalorians. I love everything Mandalorian, can't you tell? Tune in every week to see what games I'm playing and what sets my heart ablaze in the moment. And who knows, maybe one day you too can appear on the show. This channel proudly supports #22kill, a non-profit charity aimed at creating a community that raises awareness and combats suicide by empowering veterans, first responders, and their families through traditional and non-traditional therapies. This channel also supports the royalty-free music of Alexander Hoff, David Fowl, and Dark Cabin Studios. This is Cyphus Space. No apologies, no excuses, no bullshit.
Howdy folks, Jarek Cyphus here, aka Cigarden Con. Yes, we're going back to Cigarden Con, her the wife. No, just not that wife, it's a couple fans gave some feedback, like, oh, I always thought it was pronounced Cigarden, we call you SAG for short, but I thought it was always pronounced Cigarden. Well, I guess, I don't know, maybe vanity took over and I didn't want it to sound pretentious like pronouncing it Gordon as opposed to Gordon, but I think that's just the way the cookie crumbles on that one. So Cigarden it is. It's been a while since I've made a video, and it's Tuesday because I'm wearing my Trek swag for Trekkie Tuesday because I'm starting back up streaming tonight. And so this video should be up on YouTube well before I do my stream tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. And depending on how the way fair use and everything gets figured out with YouTube, the way they slowly and sneakily revise their rules, all of my content may eventually go to Twitch completely. I haven't decided if that's how that's going to go, but stay tuned for that. There's a lot of people who are being very outspoken about YouTube's policy changes lately. More to follow on that. I think I'll cover a story on that eventually. Not this week. There's way too much other stuff going on to talk about YouTube's misdeeds. So let's get right back into it, because I was going to do one video this week and then I realized it will be a 30+ minute video. So let's go ahead and break it down and keep it to down to two 15 to 20 minute videos if possible. First thing on the agenda, I want to catch folks up on why the videos stopped. I know this is a channel about no excuses, but it's less of an excuse and more just simply IRL, real life kind of comes in the way, planning and shit sometimes. But 3 weeks ago my car was burglarized overnight. I don't know if I left it unlocked or if maybe they Slim Jim'd it or whatever, but the entire compartment of the car was tossed. The only thing surprisingly stolen was a damn microwave, a junker microwave that was in my trunks. We'd already a replacement in the house, and I was gonna donate that microwave because it was still functional. It just needed some lubrication and corrosion treatment on the little metal spindle that turns the turntable, and that's really all it needed for work. So that got taken and that was it. So strangely enough, someone ended up with a junker 5-finger discount microwave. Fucking cool. Alright. It's annoying because there's been a rash of criminal incidents in the neighborhood prior to that, and it's been going on for about 3 months, and it did not stop because shortly after that event, that Friday, or rather that weekend, I left to go TDY, we call it temporary duty, to New Jersey. We were standing up a new contract at McGuire Air Force Base for 2 weeks, and it couldn't wait the whole 2 weeks before some shit went down again. On the last Wednesday before, this past Wednesday before I came home, the lawnmower was stolen from our backyard. Lawnmower under a night vision camera security. Caught everything on tape. I mean, plain as freaking day. Red-handed. Guy didn't even look up at the camera. He was pretty much just kind of like oblivious to the fact that he was on videotape. Whatever. That's on him. So yeah, wife was a little rattled about that because she was home alone. Brother-in-law was in Maryland at the time. We're all home now. We're all very angry and violated because criminals seem to be kind of on a little bit of a spree in Hampton, Virginia lately. Well, like I had already said on Facebook, we're aware of it. we got your number. We're tired of the bullshit. Don't fucking come in our yard or our property again unless you plan on not walking out. And that's all I gotta say on that. I'm a very proud Second Amendment supporter. If my wife or my brother-in-law or anybody in my domicile's life is threatened, I'm going to defend that life. And I'm not fucking playing around with that shit. But that's all I kind of really want to talk about on that one, because just other than give you all the advice of staying vigilant, know your neighbors, know your people, encourage your neighbors, because neither of my neighbors have security systems, which would have helped a lot in both situations. So make sure your neighbors and your folks around you have security systems. And if they're hesitant to do so, maybe there's a reason, especially if that reason's not financial. It concerns me when people who put on a good face don't want to protect themselves and have the means to do so. It just, I don't know. Just be aware of who you live near, because I can't rule out the fact that both incidents were, I don't want to call them inside jobs in the neighborhood, but someone that people know in the neighborhood, because it's just some weird coincidences have been going on lately, and I guess recent events in the news haven't helped with that, which is the next topic I want to move on to. It's on everyone's mind, so I want to kind of get it out of the way, is this whole fucking double shooting. 30 people pretty much lost 30 lives in America in a span of 24 hours from initially a far-right white supremacist lunatic to a far-left Antifa supporting lunatic. And I don't have all the details. I don't think really anybody has all the details, despite the fact that the former is still alive and in custody and living in better conditions than these temporarily sheltered immigrants and ICE apprehendees are living in. I'm not going to get into that. That guy should fucking rot for all I care. But the one thing I've noticed that I think is a really strange coincidence is that the first day you have an extreme alt-right guy go and shoot up a bunch of people in El Paso, and in Dayton, Ohio, the next day, an extreme alt-left Antifa supporting goon goes up and shoots up a fucking bar. A coworker of mine used to drink at said bar. So there are real people that I know affected by both tragedies. And just like me getting robbed and not being able to do anything about it, and my wife being terrified and feeling violated, feeling that her safety is violated, this kind of shit hits home, and I'm kind of getting tired of it. And I'm kind of getting tired of all the odd feeling coincidences that seem to be going along with it. I don't feel like it's I don't feel like it's a coincidence at all that an alt-right and then an alt-left conduct a mass shooting less than 24 hours apart. That is a weird statement to make. And I don't know if it was just a weird coincidence that the Antifa supporter decided to go off his rocker and look at the white supremacists as like his signal to do it. Is like, oh, well, that's my cue. Maybe I should be the next guy to do it. Maybe I should be the one to finally act on my list. And that's the point I want to get to next. The list. Witnesses and people who knew him said that the Dayton shooter had a list in high school. A kill list and a rape list. Girls he wanted to rape, guys he wanted to kill, people who made the list. Stuff we used to joke about in school. Oh man, this crazy kid, he's probably got a list, man. He's going to knock you off. Well, this kid had a real list. This kid who shot up people in Dayton, Ohio, had a list in high school. The signs that this guy shouldn't have owned or been able to acquire a firearm, the signs have been bleeding red, neon red, glowing lights red for years. And this guy was able to get his hands on a motherfucking firearm. I don't give two shits what these whiny fucking out of their gourd anti-gun lobbyists want to say. At this point, it does not fucking matter what firearm he got his hands on. It's the fact that he got his hands on one to begin with, when there are people who question his mental stability. I don't care if the band he plays in is a coping mechanism, because anything that's kind of almost screamo death metal, talking about very sexually aggressive pornographic material, is also very concerning. And all of this is replete in signs and indications that this shooting was preventable. It was very preventable, and it didn't get prevented. I can't tell y'all enough how much that bothers the shit out of me, because we now have a preventable shooting, on record by somebody who probably people assumed ignorantly, oh, he wouldn't do anything. He's a leftist, he's a liberal, he's a sweet, huggy person. He supported fucking Antifa. People who have factual evidence of Antifa people resorting to violence to make their point. And for a while, I had some friends on Facebook, you know who the fuck you are, by the way, who supported it because they felt like the Republicans, or they couldn't get their point across to Republicans. And I get it. It was an emotional response to the Charlottesville violence, which was one of the most deplorable acts in our nation's history, by the way. But it doesn't justify the violence. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. But now you have an Antifa supporter on record going up and shooting and killing, I think it was 9 people now. Killing 9 people. How long are we going to excuse one side over the other and continue this bullshit hand-wringing that we're doing on social media that, well, one side's not as bad as the other? I'm sorry, but if you're extreme left or extreme right, I have a problem with you. I don't care who you are, what walk you have, I have a problem with you, because when you let your ideals get too extreme, you will go to extremes to get your point across. Point made yesterday. Point, set, match. Point made the day before. Point, set, match. Extremism, no matter in what form it takes, is not healthy to the safety of the American people. It's not. I cannot stress that enough. It's not. People are loony. People are crazy. People are going to do loony, crazy shit. And we can't just sit there and say, well, he was this political alignment. It doesn't matter who they are. But if they're extreme in some form or another, odds are pretty good they might go to extreme lengths to get their point across, as 2 of them did. And that's really all I want to say about that, apart from I want to leave y'all with some advice on that front. As I talked about, as you will probably read in the news by now, the shooting was preventable because the signs were there. People knew him. People knew this kid as having a rape list, for crying out loud, okay? There was all the signs that he was not mentally stable enough to own or even possess a gun, yet it was allowed to happen. We probably don't have all the details on how he acquired said weapon. I'm sure that will come about sooner or later too, and you can investigate that and find out if that was preventable, because I'm sure it was too. But my point is, know your friends, know your family, know what their limits are, and please understand that if someone has acted out and spoken out that they are willing to resort to violence, even extreme amounts of violence, to get their point across because no one else is listening to them, you might want to pull them aside and say, hold on, bruh, or hold on, sis, we need to sit down and talk before you become the next umpty squat name. I'm not naming people and giving them the fucking, I'm not doing that. But you don't want your friend to be the next person, either posthumously or still alive in prison, like the El Paso shooter, and be remembered in history as the latest mass shooter. Don't let your friend become that person. Know your people, know your friends, know your family, and recognize the signs. And if they won't listen to you when they say to get help, you need to warn somebody. Because when people don't speak up right when it happens, that's how this shit happens. That's how mass shootings occur, and that's how we start passing the blame and blame violent music, violent movies, violent video games, by the way, which are modifiers. Desensitizing someone to violence is not the cause of a shooting, and getting rid of that is not going to stop shooting. The only thing it might change is if the person survives, they might have a little guilt about it. People are still fucking dead. Video games are not to blame. Movies are not to blame. Music is not to blame. Get the fuck off your goddamn horses and use some goddamn common sense, Congress. And that's really all I want to talk about on that subject. Let's go over what I think we're going to do Friday. So I'll do a streaming real quick. So tonight, obviously at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be doing Star Trek Online. I will be finishing up my Rising Corvette. I don't know if that was... I don't know what the word I want to use right now because I'm kind of like fired up over that whole shooter situation, but I don't even have the word right now. Anyway, so yeah, tonight I'll be finishing the Rising Corvette's Tier 6 Rising Corvette, which will be kind of a smuggler vessel. I may fly it, I may not. I have a ship I really, really like right now, my main character, that I'll probably keep doing and keep flying and keep blowing stuff up with while drinking funny, nerdy alcoholic beverages for y'all's entertainment. Thursday, there is a poll on my Patreon channel that will be linked in the description below. Choose from that poll, decide what you all want to see me stream on Thursday. The choices for this week are Star Wars Galaxy's Legends, War Thunder, or Final Fantasy XIV. All great games, all games I enjoy playing a lot. So whatever y'all want to see me play, you can mention in the comments below, but I would greatly appreciate if you would go onto the post that I made on my Patreon below and cast your vote there. And Friday, there'll be another YouTube video coming out that was to prevent this from becoming like an hour-long freaking session. And we'll be discussing video game violence. I want to get more into that and why their arguments from Congress are fucking stupid. We'll be talking a little bit about Star Wars and how, some more hype for Star Wars Episode 9 coming out and The Mandalorian, which I'm super fucking stoked for. Star Wars Galaxies, what my future with that project and ILM, and what I'm planning on doing on staff. And then I want to talk about Galaxy's Edge. I know I haven't been to Galaxy's Edge since the actual grand opening yet, but my best man for my wedding, also pretty much one of my best friends on the entire fucking planet, and his wife just went there and did real-time experiences and feedback, and they produced a video with actual genuine emotional feedback from actual genuine real Star Wars fans, not these people under the guise of being Star Wars fans who are going and review dumping like I'm seeing so many people doing because they want to give Disney a black eye because they're fucking butthurt toxic fans. Yes, I'm calling you fucking out. And you know what? If it starts in a war in the comments, bring it on, because I got something for y'all's asses. I'm very passionate about Star Wars, obviously. And when I start seeing fake fans and toxic fans who are acting like a bunch of fucking toxic, whiny, crybaby hipsters with their hand out, you're going to get called out as a fucking whiny bitch. Again, this channel's about no apologies, so if you can't handle this, go find someone else to watch, because I'm not here to hold your fucking hand. I'm here to tell you how I feel about stuff, and if you agree, you agree. If not, oh well, move on. Thumbs down, I don't give a fuck. But if you do like this stuff, hey, bring it on. I'll keep doing it. Feedback is always welcome. Stuff you want to hear me talk about, please leave it in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up, give me a sub, and by all means, please support me on Patreon. It does make this a lot easier for me to do long term, especially with having a full-time job and me trying to start a family. Hey, surprise. So with that, I will sign this video off and get this thing uploaded here this evening, and hope y'all will join me on Twitch tonight on Jarek Cyphus for some Star Trek Trekkie Tuesday online. This is Jarek Cyphus signing off.